Welcome to France after a week that has brought us two important World Cup qualifying wins, two more Kylian Mbappe goals, two injuries to two important PSG players, and just one new Prime Minister. I'm delighted to say I have got two guests joining me this morning to look back at France's victories over Ukraine and Iceland, including across the channel regular Jonathan Johnson. JJ, welcome back. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I enjoyed my outing to the Parc des Princes, first of the season, to see France beat Iceland, and looking forward to getting into it with both of you.
Great to have the French football expert Jonathan Johnson with us, and I'm thrilled to welcome a very special guest, the former footballer Ricardo Faty. Bonjour, Ricardo, bienvenue. Thank you for taking the time this morning to join us.
Hello, Matt. Hello, John. Hello, everybody. I will try to pull out my best English for today.
Just to let you know, in case you don't already, Ricardo recently ended a long and distinguished playing career that spanned 20 years. He played in 6 countries, representing the likes of Strasbourg, Nantes, Ajaccio, Bayer Leverkusen and AS Roma. Because today's podcast is focusing on international football, I should let you know Ricardo was a French youth international before representing Senegal at senior level. Ricardo, I want to start by asking you a bit about Clairefontaine, because you attended the famous academy between the ages of 12 and 15. It is a world-renowned football school that gathers the very best kids from the Paris region. You were in the same year, for example, as Hatem Ben Arfa, Abu Dhabi. You lived there, trained there, you went to school just next to Clairefontaine. How important were those years for you as a footballer in terms of your development and also as a person?
Obviously, for me, it was a privilege to be there. It's the nicest academy for young players here in France. Actually, it teach you everything. You know, when you learn at the very young age how to behave, how to train every day. Everything is here for you to be like a proper professional football player. So yeah, we know all the fame from this academy. Player like Thierry Henry also, Nicolas Anelka came from this academy. So yeah, 3 years who I learned a lot, and I learned how to be a man, but mostly like a proper football.
Ricardo, your career spanned other top European leagues, the likes of Italy, the likes of Germany, also Belgium and Turkey as well. How do you feel Clairefontaine prepared you for adapting to those different cultures, not just on the pitch, but off it as well?
Yeah, like I said, you know, when you learn at the very young age how to train every day, you know, you acquire some values, you know, some attitude, you know, to be how to be resilient, how to be like how to have like a very high standard of performance in every day. So when you learn that at 12 years old until 16, then when you pass to your professional club, you are ready. Actually, you're ready for the big stage. You're ready to not to cope with the pressure, with like the intensity. So yeah, Clairefontaine taught me a lot about that. You know, when you have to be every day like training, like in all the difficulties of a football player. I think I learned from that. But after, like, me personally, the fact to play abroad, it was more like a personal choice, because I wanted to discover other countries. I wanted to discover like other football. So I think the fact to travel and to play in a lot of countries, it was more like personal. Thanks to Clairefontaine, I could have, I think, a long and kind of successful career.
Yeah, kind of successful. You had an amazing career that people like John and myself would absolutely dream of having. Ricardo, I want to ask you, you've kept those roots, haven't you? You've kept a very close link with Clairefontaine, the people who coached you, and I know you've kept an eye on the generations coming through, and you're back there today. Is that right?
Yeah. Actually, now I'm a coach there in Clairefontaine, so it's a I think it's destiny, because I have all my memories there. I love that place. So now I'm back to be coach. I'm coaching there from that season. So I hope it's gonna be like a successful project, a successful career, another career like in not on the bench, but with the kids and on the pitch as a coach.
Okay, yeah. I want to ask you, Ricardo, as well, because we see Clairefontaine and the academy system in France produces so many incredible footballers. A lot of them go on to represent France. Some of them as well, a good number, go on to represent other nations because kids and players like yourself have dual citizenship, sometimes even more than two countries. And I think it's important to say that, French football really benefits hugely, right, from this diversity that we have in France. We have, different sort of attributes and skills, I think, that come from these different origins. And you,
Mhm.
Ricardo, you're a good example. You and your brother, Jacques Faty, who, like yourself, you grew up in the Paris suburbs to Senegalese parents. The subject of dual nationality can also be a contentious one. I want to ask you a little bit about what it was like for you in terms of making that decision, because you played for France up to under 21 level, and then
Yeah.
you opted to represent the country of your origins, Senegal.
Yeah, it's a huge topic in France for a long time. I think it will be for forever. Like I like to say that we are the fruits of our history, of France history. All about the colonies and everything. So, for instance, for my part, my grandfather fought for France during the wars, World War II, and he was French actually. He was French. So, when you grew up, you're a son of immigrants. You have this duality between those countries, the France and your origins. It's not easy. I think it's proper to each player. I think it's proper to each individual to feel who you really are is as a French or as a African countries, even American countries, even Portuguese. So I think it's not an issue for me, like you say. I think for us it's a kind of strength. It's a good thing. It's a positive thing. After everybody have to make his own choice to choose his countries. For my part, as a part of my brother, we wanted to know about our origin. At some points as an individual, you want to know who you really are actually. So that's why at that point you make your own decision and you want to give something back to your country. So some people they give back my money, they give back by creating foundation. Some people, some players, they just want to play with the national team. So this is what we make. Me and my brother, we decide to represent Senegal, but we feel as Senegalese than French. So it's proper to everyone.
Ricardo, I just want to ask you one more thing about this, because I remember you talking to me last season, and you mentioned the fact that that actually you and your parents, after choosing to play for Senegal, you and your parents went back to Clairefontaine, and was it your father sort of apologized to your trainers, saying, because some people on the outside, they look at it and think, well, these players, they're getting their formation, their training in France, then they're going on to play for other countries. But I think your case is quite telling, and probably more kind of close to the reality of the situation, that you're really super grateful. You're also super proud of your Senegalese roots, and and the fact that you grew up in a Senegalese household.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. About this kind of story. My brother, my father, sorry, didn't wanted me to go with Senegal. He said to me, "No, you have to stay with France. You have to try your chance with the French national team, even your brother." And a little story quickly, when my brother grew up in professional, at that time the coach of Senegal was Guy Stéphane, the second coach from Deschamps. He went to my father's house to ask my father to bring my brother to Senegal. And my father at the first point turned down. He said no because he want to try, he want to stay in France. We are very, very grateful for the French formation. So for us, the natural way is to fight for France. But at one point, my brother decided to represent Senegal. even me at a certain point. But yeah, my father, when he see until now, when he's seeing some people for the French Federation, he said, yeah, we're really attached about the French Federation and the French national team. Not very apologized, but saying that for him it's a kind of regret, So yeah, we have this kind of duality. And I think it's proper. Once again, it's proper to each player. Someone they really feel attracted by the origin countries, other people don't. So we need to understand and to accept all kind of situation.
It's fantastic always to hear these kind of insights and stories. It's stuff that I don't think too many people get to hear enough. It's really really enriching. Looking at the current France squad, Ricardo, what do you is there a player perhaps in particular whose profile, whose career journey so far fascinates you more than some of the others, based on some of the experiences that you've mentioned? For example, you have a lot of diverse players from different backgrounds. The Thuram brothers, for example, sons of France legend Lilian, but born in Italy, opting to play for the French national team. The makeup of the current team is really fascinating. So I wondered if you had your eye on one player in particular.
Yeah. Obviously, for me, the main player who now to keep my mind to put my mind on is Michael Olisé, because I think he could play for maybe 4 or 5 different countries, but at the end he decided to join France. Him is being born in England, I imagine, like a lot of origin, but it's a nice story because you can feel that it's like his choice of the heart, because he really wanted to represent France, despite the fact that he speak like barely French, and he's trying to adapt himself. He's acting like he's not very like I like, because he make the effort not to be part of this of that team. You can feel that he really wanted to join them. He's trying to adapt himself, and I think now is the world we're living in. We need to adapt. We need to accept like the origin of everybody. Like now the world is globalized, and I think the case of Michael Olise is very like interesting.
Yeah, he made a really bad choice. Like he should have played for England. I mean, what a
It's your
player.
opinion, Matt, but for us, it's a big benefit.
So we're going to get stuck into the France analysis now with Ricardo Faty, our special guest today, and Jonathan Johnson. France have secured 2 good wins in their World Cup qualifiers. 2-0 away in Ukraine, with Michael Olise scoring, Kylian Mbappe getting the second goal. And then a more difficult victory, 2-1 against Iceland on Monday evening, an Mbappe penalty to equalise after a fairly disastrous opening goal conceded to Iceland, and then Bradley Barcola getting the winner. It was not the easiest of victories, with Tchouaméni getting sent off. France were hanging on a bit at the end. We also saw Didier Deschamps playing in this 4-2-3-1 formation. Manu Koné and Aurélien Tchouaméni, the two in the midfield. Michael Olise playing behind Mbappe, and we've seen, of course, Barcola and Thuram on the wing against Iceland. We saw Doué and Dembélé playing as well against Ukraine. I want to ask Ricardo, first of all, could you give me your biggest positive? What's the big positive to take out of those 2 matches?
For me, the positive is that maybe Deschamps find this kind of 11 players could play together. We can see some player like comfortable, like can play together. It used to be like very like proactive. It was not the case during the Deschamps era. It was like every time like looking for the right formula. It was not maybe very transcending. Now you can see like a very like addition of skillful players, even if it was not like the 2 best games so far from France national teams, but you can see like a really strong 11 players like pop up. So for me, it was the positive side of this week. even if yeah, there were easy game, like nothing maybe to pull out, to nothing like special to take up. Maybe the record of Mbappe, like pass through Thierry Henry with 52 goals, but except that, nothing like special. Just
Okay.
these 11 players and
So the general sort of cohesion, the way the team
yeah,
gelled, maybe like in attack in particular, because it was a slightly new system.
yeah. I think 4-2-3-1 it was the one fit the most from those kind of players, like to even to giving them liberty because now they are professional. They know a lot. They obviously they all playing in the biggest clubs. So I think it's the best like formation animation to let them free, to let them play around Mbappe. So yes, it was the natural way to play for them.
Okay, good stuff. John, what are you taking from this? Positive.
As much attention as it probably deserves is the fact that right now, the calendar for a lot of these players, especially those who were involved in seasons which finished extremely late last season, physically the demands at the moment, and I'd be keen to hear Ricardo's opinion on this as well. It's absolutely enormous, and I think the ability to sort of juggle or to balance the club and national team duty, is really admirable this early in the season because this at this moment in time, this is where national teams could really suffer, get adverse results, and especially in qualification for such an important competition like the World Cup. Okay, I don't really think looking at the group that France would be at risk of not qualifying, but it could make qualifying even more difficult and make certain fixtures, absolutely must-win games, which really increases the level of jeopardy sort of attached to some of these harder away games. So I think getting 6 points from six immediately on the board is hugely important because especially in terms of building confidence and also ultimately perhaps for Didier Deschamps feeling like he is going to be in a position in the future to experiment with potentially new players and involving them in these important fixtures. But going back to what I was mentioning earlier, I'd be keen to hear Ricardo's view on the physical and the mental, I guess, demands on the players at the moment, given the loaded schedule. I know that we're probably going to touch on the sort of Dembele and Doué situation
Mhm.
later on in the show, but it seems to me like right now, it's probably harder than it has ever been for top level players to be playing at their best, both for club and for the national team. I know that Mbappe was speaking a lot about it in the press conference, certainly before the two games.
Yeah, obviously it's a huge one. It's a new like topic like coming for the best players because like we have to say that it's only like concern like the biggest like the finest players like playing like 60 or 70 games in a season. For me, it's not sustainable. It's not good if you want to enjoy like a very good quality of games and even like to not touch like let's say like the health of the players. We need to keep themselves safe. And okay, now it's only September. Like you said, John, the fact to win the first two games, it will like allow them maybe to be more relaxed for the rest of the campaign for the qualification. But still, I think we demand too much for those players, and we can see like Dembele is already like kind of fragile. Now he's injured again. I don't think it was very like important to make them play this game against Ukraine. In the other hand, we can understand Deschamps because he want to win first. He want to win quickly to qualify. So it's a tricky one. Actually, to be honest, John, I can make myself clear. I can't because I understand both ways. I can understand like the demand of the competition of the audience. Maybe they will want more games. And obviously, I was a player, so playing like 70, 60 games in a season is not sustainable because I think after the quality and the integrity of the players is broken. So we need to find the right balance, obviously.
Ricardo, I'm going to come in and ask you this straight out. PSG are furious.
Hmm.
Didier Deschamps has his own prerogative. He's got a World Cup to prepare. Whose fault is it? Do we need to attribute blame? But whose fault is it that Dembele? Because let me just say, Dembele's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a
Yeah.
hamstring problem. Doué, it's going to be probably a month with a calf problem.
So I don't want to create any polemic. I don't want to create any problem. But for me, the first responsible is Dembele. It's not France. It's not Paris. For me, the responsible is Dembele himself, because he's 28. He knows his body more than everyone because he's feeling it. Maybe he could say, listen, coach, I can feel it, or I prefer to rest. Please let me rest. After, I can understand the pressure, I can understand the demand, I can understand the will to play and everything. But I think just about, I talk only about Dembele, not Désiré Doué. Désiré Doué for me is another issue, is a problem. But for Dembele, is 28, is for me like the next Ballon d'Or, like eventually. So he knows his body. He was supposed to say, listen, okay, this rhythm is too much for me. Even like Paris, they don't understand. They want to keep me for themselves. France is the same thing. He needed to stop. He needed to rest for himself.
Okay.
So for me, it's not Deschamps, because Deschamps is using the player at disposition, at disposal. So I can blame Deschamps. I can blame the French national team. Paris has a right to be furious, but at the end, for me, is Dembele is the responsible.
Okay, it's tough though, isn't it? You know, Dembele's got these pressures coming from his club, who, you know, I wouldn't say rushed him back, but tried to get him back from injury to play at the Club World Cup in America. He then had three weeks off, 2 training sessions, I think, before playing in the Super Cup. He's straight in, with Ligue 1. But your viewpoint there is.
Excuse me, Matt. Just like 1 minute. You can blame Paris also, because the way they manage him, it was not maybe not the best, but they need to adapt to the calendar also. And you can blame the French national team, because he was considered available. So Deschamps, we all know how Didier Deschamps is. He's very like Cartesian. I don't know how we say in English.
Cartesian,
like,
yeah.
So he can use it. So he use him. So it's difficult to blame once again both sides. So that's why I hit on Dembele on that one.
Yeah, and it is a subject, isn't it, that we're going to be talking more and more about, not just Dembele, but injuries in general, and how to cope with the workload. My positive, by the way, I'm going to go with a player that you like, Ricardo, Manu Koné, who I thought was excellent across the 2 matches. Actually, not that many players shone in both games, but I thought he was brilliant, and he's starting to look the part, which is really good for France. That partnership with Tchouaméni, I'm sure, Ricardo, you're enjoying, as a midfielder as well, you're enjoying seeing those 2 play. And Manu Koné, a former Clairefontaine graduate who played for Roma. So
yeah. Honestly, I love this guy. I love this player because he saw some good qualities, and he's modest. I think he just want to improve and to show that he could fit on that team. Okay, not the fact that he plays for Roma, also that even the fact that he decided to stay another season. So I'm very glad to have him in my team in Rome. But I think it's very like good complementarity with Tchouaméni, because this kind of French midfielder who can do like everything, like a Pogba, like can defend, can pass, can dribble. Maybe he could be more efficient in the last part of the pitch. Maybe try to score more, like Tchouaméni, when he's feeling good, like with the shots and everything. Maybe like go into the box and finish it. But I think he's making his role very clear. He respects maybe the Deschamps like advices, consignes. I don't know the name in English.
instructions,
So instruction, exactly. So I think it's a good addition. We will see. Maybe Rabiot can come over, can fit also. But Manu Koné, for me, is a real satisfaction of this French national team.
John, I wanted to ask you for your negative, and Ricardo just mentioned Adrien Rabiot. Now, John has some PSG allegiances. I mean, I don't want to call you a fan, because you're above all a journalist. You were in the Parc des Princes. I hope you weren't booing Adrien Rabiot. And can you give us your negative, which may or may not have anything to do with Rabiot?
I was a Parc des Princes regular as a season ticket holder once upon a time, but that was a long, long time ago, way back in the early 2000s when not just PSG but French football sort of lived in a different era as well. But yeah, I mean, I think the negative, the overarching sort of negative, has to be, sort of the reception towards Rabiot and a bit of booing towards Deschamps as well. I can understand with the local element, sort of the hot reception Rabiot got for sort of his career choices, but also at the same time, I think when the French national team are concerned, everything relating to club football, that's to some extent, has to be kind of left at the door, and people have to be there for the national team to get behind Les Bleus. And I don't really think that there's any place, for that kind of treatment. So I think it was counterproductive. Ultimately, it didn't sort of spoil the result and sort of impact the team's performance too much. With regards to sort of the vocal kind of the growing criticism of Deschamps, I can kind of understand it, but equally I can understand the argument as well, looking at everything that Didier Deschamps has achieved with France and, as a, not just a coach, but also as a player. And I think, he also deserves the respect to not have that kind of heckling from the crowd.
It's interesting that you make that point, and Deschamps actually said that he changed the fans' mood when Rabiot made that brilliant tackle towards the end, as Iceland we're trying to equalise, and the crowd sort of all cheered, and then like, oh, it's Rabiot, okay. Where do you stand, Ricardo, on Didier Deschamps, because he's got so much attacking talent now at his disposal. You can probably understand that people, they want to see some flamboyant football now as well.
Yeah, I think it's a time because I don't have the memory to have like a such powerful like attack lines, like France players. Maybe in 2002 with player like Trezeguet, Henry, Djibril Cissé, Anelka, so on. We know Deschamps. Deschamps is a winner. What I will say will not be like original. Is just want to win. Pretty well that is like for him like the fundamental is a defense, is to be like strong, to be like solid, to show some solidity, confidence, and then maybe rely to some like exploit from these big players. We saw it also in 2018, the way they won the World Cup. Okay, everybody was happy, everybody was enjoy, but at the end, when you analyze well the competition, you say actually it was the competition of Mbappe because of his skills and his talent, and of the solidity of the defense and the midfield. Everybody remember Matuidi in the in the left side. So yeah, Deschamps is this kind of player. He tried to be like kind of coach. Sorry, he want to be like solid, but now I have hope because it's like his last tournament. It's like his last big like tournament with France. Maybe we try to open up and to give the floor to not to leave the his striker, maybe this offensive animation to be more creative and to be more offensive. So let's hope for that, and we will see in the next months with DJ Deschamps.
The World Cup's going to be his last tournament. Just to read this quote from Thierry Henry, who was talking to CBS this week. He said, "We all know who's going to be the next France coach. I know, you know, I wish him all the best." So, given that Thierry Henry was sort of in the frame, but everybody's favourite and the big favourite is Zinedine Zidane, he's making that pretty clear. Maybe we'll have to wait for Zizou to see the flamboyant, incredible football. Ricardo, just very quickly before we move on to talk about the main man, Kylian, who showed he is the main man still. Do you have a negative? Is there something that you didn't really like in the Iceland or Ukraine games?
Honestly, not because, like I said, there were easy games, and even when Iceland like scored first, I wasn't very worried because I knew that France was too powerful. There was like okay, it was not maybe like high rhythm because the opponent was for me was weak. I was very like disappointed about Ukraine prestation, Ukraine
Performance, yeah.
games and yeah performance. So I think like France they just adapt themselves and try to be patient and to play in order to win those games. They don't want like to smash or to break the players like maybe like Spain can do it, could do it. So yeah, I was not expecting much for those games. Like we said at the beginning, 2 games, 6 points is all we can like take from those games. I will be more curious or more like attentive when we play like biggest team, maybe in the World Cup or maybe in the Nations League. But yeah, I will be more like actually I'm looking forward to play against team like England or Spain, Germany. It will be very interesting to see how France can behave actually. Those
Yeah.
games, honestly, to be honest, they are easy games.
Yeah, it's true. But I'm going to give you a negative because they are easy games. And I felt there was a bit of complacency that came in because of that. When France turned it round against Iceland, they went 2-1 up. I saw Kylian doing some flicks. It was all a bit, it's 2-1. You're playing, a team that needs to be respected. And of course, Chouameni got sent off, and towards the end, it was pretty hairy. And actually, Iceland scored. The goal was disallowed because there was a slight shirt pull on Konate. But for me, that would be something they need to be careful of.
True, true, yeah. You have to be like more modest, to be like more
Yeah,
not professional, but
it's a
to
it's a
be like
French thing, no, Ricardo?
no. It's a new generation thing. My
Okay.
opinion. It's not a French thing. No.
I mean, I think another really good example of that, though, was actually the France defense gifting the goal to Iceland. Because you look at Olisé's role in that, giving the ball away, making a silly pass across. I mean, okay, it kind of stitched up. I think was it Upamecano who was the one receiving the pass. That was a bit of an unfair sort of situation for him because it wasn't his decision to sort of receive the pass there. And I do think that kind of decision making reflects either somebody who's maybe fatigued through the demands of the games over sort of the last couple of years, or somebody who is playing as part of a team that's maybe not respecting their opponent as much as they perhaps could have done. Ultimately, I think once France did realize that there was an opponent in front of them to respect, they managed to turn it around. I think the second goal was a very good example of that. By far and away, for me, probably the best move of the entire international break for France, which ended in Barcola scoring. But for me, I think that sort of that moment, the gifting of the goal to Iceland, encapsulated sort of where France maybe need to improve in the next couple of international breaks in making sure that they take every single one of these games seriously. Because going back to my point from earlier, if they do drop points at some point, it's going to make possibly one of those away matches that little bit more challenging and difficult, where the jeopardy is maybe higher than it would have been on paper when we were initially looking at the fixture list.
So Kylian Mbappe equaled and then gone past Thierry Henry's record. He's scored 52 goals already. He's still only 26. He's done it in 92 matches. He finished as Europe's top scorer in club football last season, his first season with Real Madrid. There's been a lot of focus on the PSG stars in recent months. We're talking about Michael Olisé a lot. Are we underestimating? Are we forgetting a little bit just how good Kylian Mbappe is?
Yeah, this is true because he give us like too much, like too early, like too quick. So we're expecting maybe the the best, maybe it's impossible from Kylian. But yeah, we not forget that he's one of the best striker in the world. He finished like Pichichi. Is very skillful. He always show like his best mood every time. Not the best mood, but his best performance. So yeah, Kylian is one of the greatest. So we need to respect that. He only wants try to be the best player on the pitch. Yeah, now he passed through Thierry Henry. Now it's just a matter of time to be like the French best goal scorer. No, yeah, Kylian, I think he arrived at a certain point that he want to be like a real leader. really like even out the pitch, even like in behavior. I think now he's more in peace with himself. I think all the things that happened with Paris and this kind of small like polemics in France, I think is behind him now. He's now well settled in Madrid. I think now he's ready to leave a big mark. So yeah, me now I expect the best from Mbappe this season until the World Cup.
So Mbappe is just 5 goals now behind Olivier Giroud's all-time France record. John, very simple question for you. You're the manager of France, the World Cup final. You need to pick a striker. Do you pick peak Karim Benzema, peak Thierry Henry, or do you pick Kylian Mbappe?
Oh, this is a really, really, really tough question. I knew when you were saying it's an easy question, it's definitely not going to be one. I don't really think that there's a wrong answer. I think it depends on what kind of system that you're playing, what kind of player that you want. I would have loved to have seen real, a sustained period of time for peak Karim Benzema in the French national team, because I feel that, had he not been out of the international picture for so long, for obvious reasons, well documented, I do feel like the French national team possibly could have been even more dominant than it already was. And I think it's, to the credit of all of the talent that France has been able to produce over the years, that it's been able to enjoy the success it has, while somebody like Benzema has been more or less sort of marginalized. But yeah, it's really, really difficult to pick between all of them. I would say that I would be curious to know how peak Benzema would have performed in that kind of scenario. It's a shame that ultimately we'll never know the answer to that one.
So you're going Benzema? Yes or no, John?
I mean, yeah. For the sake of interest and the fact that there's three of us here, I'll go with Benzema.
Ricardo, who are you going with?
A technical question turns out to a philosophical question, because it depends of your character, it depends of the animation of the teams. Actually, we got a slice of that in Euro 2020 and 21 with Benzema around Mbappe, Griezmann. He was great, actually. He was very great, because you can feel the intelligence of Karim in this kind of team is just like magical. But like John says, it's difficult because it depends like the animation, it depends like the kind of player the team you play against. I don't think Thierry Henry would fit this kind of team. I don't know if you put him in the left side, on the striker side. I don't know the position. Maybe he will fit more like in the transition team, like in 2018, for example. It will be great. But like John, I'm with Benzema, because Benzema is a kind of player, a kind of striker we can adapt to all kind of situation. And I love Karim Benzema, so for me, yeah, I'm with Karim.
That's interesting.
Even if I love Thierry, he's my idol. So even Kylian, I like Kylian, but I go with Karim.
I was assuming Matt was absolutely 100% going to go for Henry as well. The Arsenal fan was going to
for sure.
Of course, I'm going Thierry Henry. He can adapt to any system, any style. But I was really confident that Ricardo was going to go for Thierry, so I'm surprised. But there you go. We learn things every day, and I know you had the odd run-in with Thierry.
Maybe now is my mind of coach now, because now I'm thinking more as a coach. So maybe I changed my mind, but. Yeah, for me, it's Thierry Henry all the way.
Thierry used to come and visit you at Clairefontaine, didn't he? He used to watch training and stuff.
Not yet, but he will come. He will come, and I'm ready to welcome him.
No, but I meant sorry, Ricardo. I meant that when you were
when I was young,
when you were a boy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He came to visit us. It was a big surprise, and it's cool because I don't know how to consider Thierry Henry, because when I met him, when I see him. Like we greeting, we talk like we're friends, but I see him like an idol. I see him like a big brother. So it's strange because he knows everything about me. Obviously, I know everything about him also. So it's very strange relation, because he's not a friend. He's not a mentor. He's my idol. So it's a little bit of everything.
Brilliant. So. Okay, well, thank you so much, Ricardo. We're just going to give you some answers now. Clairefontaine. So Thierry Henry, of course, came through Clairefontaine. We mentioned Mbappe. We mentioned Manu Koné. Now, you correct me if I'm wrong, Ricardo, but according to my research,
I trust you.
Khéphren Thuram, Marcus Thuram, both went through Clairefontaine, and Marnus Akliouche, who
Magnus Akliouche, yeah, the new star, the new one.
who I absolutely love. We didn't see him in a France shirt; he was in the squad, but super player. Just to let people know, France are playing Azerbaijan next at the Parc des Princes. They then travel to Iceland for their fourth game. We'll be doing a debrief for you on that. And like I said at the very top, we're back on Monday, where we'll be looking at the Ligue 1 action from the weekend. It's been an absolute pleasure to have Ricardo with us today. Ricardo Faty, thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, John.
And thank you so much to have Jonathan Johnson as well. It's been a lot of fun and really interesting. Please don't forget to leave us a little review on your podcast platform, and we really appreciate your support. We'll be back on Monday with another edition of Across the Channel. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.